Part 1. The ship that was carrying Viola, the daughter of the Marquis of Messalin, and her identical twin brother Sebastian, was caught in a violent storm and sank. Luckily, it went down near the coast, and the captain and Viola managed to swim to the shore. They were exhausted and very wet, but alive. When she got her breath back, Viola looked up and down the beach for Sebastian.
"Where's my brother?"
she asked the captain anxiously.
"He was with us on the ship."
"I saw him before the ship went down," he replied. "He was holding on to the ship's mast. Don't worry, madam. He's strong. He's probably on another beach somewhere." Viola hoped the captain was right. She felt very lonely without Sebastian.
"What's the name of this country?"
she asked. "Illyria, madam," the captain replied. "I live here, so I know it well."
"Who rules it?"
"Duke Orsino. He's a kind man and he's a good ruler, but at the moment he's in love. He can't think about anything else. He lies on his bed all day, listening to music and composing messages of love to Countess Olivia."
"Who's she?"
"A young woman who lost both her father and her brother about a year ago. She has been in mourning since then and hasn't left her house." Viola immediately felt sorry for the lady.
"I'd like to be her maid,"
she said.
"I could work for her while I wait for Sebastian."
"That will be difficult, I think," the captain told her. "She refuses to receive visitors."
"Then perhaps I could work for Duke Orsino,"
Viola said.
"Will you help me, Captain? I'll disguise myself as a boy, and you can introduce me to him."
"Very well, madam," the captain replied. "I can lend you some of my son's clothes. I'll go and get them now." Later that day, the captain took Viola, who now called herself Cesario, to Duke Orsino's palace. The Duke liked her immediately and gave her a job. In only a few days, she became his favorite and most trusted servant. He decided she was the perfect person to send to Olivia's house with his messages of love.
"You're young and handsome,"
he said.
"She'll like you. She's sure to receive you."
"And if she refuses, my lord?"
"You must insist on seeing her,"
he replied.
"And if she agrees, my lord, what must I tell her?"
"Tell her how much I love her, how much I am suffering,"
the Duke said.
"Your voice is as sweet as a woman's. She won't be afraid of you and will listen to you. My other servants don't know how to talk about love. They can't tell her how I feel. But you're different. You understand what I want to say."
"I'll do my best,"
Viola said. She didn't feel very happy about taking the Duke's messages of love to Olivia. She liked Orsino very much, too much. In fact, she was falling in love with him. Maria, Olivia's maid, told her mistress that there was a messenger from Duke Orsino at the gates.
"I said that you didn't want to see anyone, but he refuses to go away."
What's he like?
Olivia asked.
He's very young, only a boy, madam. He has a nice face and he's very polite, not like the Duke's other servants.
All right, I'll see him.
Olivia said. Viola, disguised as Cesario, came in and asked to see the lady of the house.
I've prepared a very nice speech, and I don't want to waste it on the wrong person,
she said. Olivia laughed. She liked this young man. She took off her veil.
I am the lady of the house,
she said.
You are very beautiful, madam. It's a pity that you hide your face,
Viola said.
Now I understand why my master loves you.
But I can't love him.
Olivia said.
Go back and tell him that I don't want to hear from him again, unless...
She looked at Viola and smiled sweetly. This young man fascinated her. He was obviously from a good family and well educated, and he was very handsome.
Unless what, madam?
Viola said.
Unless you want to come back tomorrow and tell me what he said.
Viola's brother Sebastian survived the shipwreck by holding on to a piece of the mast. After 24 hours in the water, Antonio, the captain of a passing ship, rescued him and took him to the nearest port. "Where will you go now, Sebastian?" he asked as they were getting off the ship.
I think I'll go and see Duke Orsino.
Sebastian replied.
He knew my father and will help me. Why don't you come with me, Antonio?
"I've got a lot of enemies here, sir. The Duke's officers will arrest me if they see me," the captain said. "I'll go and find a room in the town and meet you later." He gave Sebastian his purse and said, "Take this. You might need some money." Sebastian thanked his new friend and set off towards the Duke's palace. The next day, the Duke sent for Viola. He wanted to talk about love.
You understand me very well, Cesario,
he told her.
I think you must be in love too. Tell me about her. What's she like?
Viola blushed. She didn't know what to say.
She looks a bit like you, my lord.
Oh dear. She can't be very pretty then.
Orsino laughed.
How old is she?
About your age, my lord.
Too old for you, Cesario. You must look for a younger woman.
Yes, my lord.
Then the Duke asked his musicians to play a love song for them. It was a very sad one.
Go back to Olivia, Cesario.
Orsino said when the musicians finished playing.
Tell her that I love her more than everything I own.
But what if she can't love you, my lord?
Impossible.
Supposing there's a woman who loves you as much as you love Olivia.
Viola said.
But you can't love her. What must she do? Must she accept the truth?
A man's love is different from a woman's, Cesario.
Orsino replied.
It's much stronger. My love for Olivia can't be compared with a woman's love for me.
I don't think that's true, my lord.
Viola said and sighed. She was thinking about how much she loved the Duke.
Shall I go to Countess Olivia now?
Yes, Cesario. Take this jewel to her. Hurry.
Part 2. Viola knocked at the gates of the Countess's house for the second time in 2 days. Maria let her in and took her to Olivia.
Good morning, madam,
She said.
I've brought another message for you from the Duke.
What does he say this time?
Olivia asked, not really interested.
He says that he loves you more than everything he owns. He has sent you this jewel.
Really?
She said in a bored voice. Then she smiled at Viola and said,
I don't want to talk about the Duke. Let's talk about you. What's your name?
Cesario, madam, but my master...
Cesario, please don't mention his name again. I don't and can't love him.
Yes, madam. I'll give him your message.
Viola said, and turned to leave.
No, wait.
Olivia cried.
I want to ask you something.
Yes, madam.
What do you think of me, Cesario?
That you think you are not what you are.
If I think so, then I think the same of you.
You are right, madam.
Viola replied.
I'm not what I am.
Cesario,
Olivia was very serious now.
I must tell you something.
Viola waited for her to speak.
Cesario,
Olivia said softly.
don't you understand? I love you. I fell in love with you the moment I first saw you.
Viola didn't know how to reply.
But madam, you can't.
She said.
I mean, I can't.
She added quickly.
I can't love you. My heart can never belong to a woman, only to myself. I must go now. I won't come again.
No,
Olivia said quickly.
please come again. Tell the Duke to send another message to me. Perhaps you can persuade me to love him after all.
Viola was leaving Olivia's house when she heard a lot of noise in the square outside. Some of the Duke's officers were there. They were arresting a man. He was dressed in the clothes of a ship's captain. As she passed, he shouted to her, "Hey, wait!" She stopped in surprise. "I thought it was you," he said. "Listen, I'm in trouble. These officers want to arrest me. I'm sorry, but I must ask you for the purse I gave you. I need the money to pay for my freedom."
What money?
Viola asked.
I don't have very much, but I'll be glad to give you half of it. Here, take these coins.
The man looked confused. "What? You refuse to give me back my money after all the favours I've done for you?" he said.
Favours?
Viola repeated. She didn't know what he was talking about. "Yes, Sebastian," he said. He was angry now. "I saved your life. I thought you were my friend. And now you refuse to give me my money?" Then one of the officers said,
Come on, sir. We haven't got all day.
and they took him away. Viola's heart was beating fast.
He called me Sebastian.
She thought.
He thought I was my brother. Does that mean Sebastian is alive?
she decided to follow them to Duke Orsino's palace. A few moments later, Sebastian walked past Olivia's house. He was looking for Antonio. Maria saw him and called to him.
Cesario, have you changed your mind about my lady?
I'm sorry. What are you talking about? And my name isn't...
Sebastian said. But Maria was already pulling him through the gates and into the house.
Come on,
She said.
she's waiting for you.
Olivia was delighted to see him.
You've come back!
She cried when Maria brought him in.
You love me after all! Say you'll be mine forever!
Sebastian couldn't believe his ears or his eyes. This beautiful woman was asking him to marry her.
Well, all right.
He replied.
Oh, I'm so happy!
Olivia said.
Let's go and find the priest. He can marry us immediately.
While Sebastian and Olivia were looking for the priest, the Duke arrived with Viola.
Tell your lady that I'm here.
He said to Maria.
Bring her to see me.
Before Maria could reply, the Duke's officers came in with Antonio. "My lord," the chief officer said, "we've caught the pirate." The Duke was surprised to see the sea captain.
Why did you come back, Antonio?
He asked. "I've changed, sir. I'm not a pirate anymore," the captain said. "I rescued this boy from the sea a few days ago and brought him here. I knew it was dangerous for me, but I did it. I gave him my purse with all my money, but now he refuses to give it back to me. He has betrayed my friendship."
Don't hurt him, my lord.
Viola said.
I believe that he's a good man.
Just at that moment, Olivia appeared.
Cesario,
She said,
what are you doing here?
I'm talking to my master, the Duke, madam.
You aren't his servant any more, Cesario. You're my husband.
When Orsino heard this, he was furious.
Husband?
He shouted.
I trusted you, Cesario, and you married Olivia behind my back. Well, take her. I never want to see you again.
Just then, Sebastian arrived.
Antonio,
He said, going up to his friend.
I was looking for you. I want to give you back your money. Where have you been?
Antonio looked confused. Am I seeing double? He said. Is that you, Sebastian?
Of course it's me.
Sebastian said.
What's going on here?
Everyone was looking at him. Then he saw Viola.
Who are you?
He asked.
You can't be my brother because I don't have one. I had a sister, but she died in a shipwreck.
No, she didn't.
Viola said, with tears running down her face.
She survived. She's alive. Sebastian, it's me, Viola.
And she ran into her brother's arms. The Duke smiled. Suddenly, he understood everything. Olivia was married to Sebastian, not Cesario. He immediately forgot about his love for the Countess and turned to Viola.
You often told me how much you loved me, Viola. But I thought you were a boy. Do you still love me?
Yes, oh yes,
Viola cried.
Will you marry me?
Orsino asked.
yes, yes. But I must change out of these boys' clothes and into a dress first.
Come, let's have some music,
The Duke said.
Everyone is invited to my wedding.